Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 15.
Back up a little bit.
15 of 3 Degens and a Normie. I have a new mic, so back up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to happen a few times. Today's episode is a special episode because we have a guest star appearance. Star is, I guess, what you could call it. If you
You're a star in my heart, Scott.
If you look at the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, if you don't have a screen because you're watching on Spotify, listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we have a special guest. So as per usual, I'm Steven, and we have
Eugene.
And
am I going next, or is
yes, because we have
Candace.
Candace, the Normie, but we have a special Degen here. A special Degen here today. One Mr. Scuticus Maximus, Scott, all the way from lovely England.
Across the pond.
Across the rich Atlantic. Scott, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm the token British friend that everyone has in the friend group. And
everyone wishes they had in the friend group.
They're jealous.
And I am most certainly a Degen, so I'm happy to be here to fill in for Jordan in the time being. And I have nothing else good to offer.
So for some context, Scott actually did live in the same hometown as us for a very, very short period of time, in which Eugene and I may have orchestrated a grand plot for him to be friends with us. Which obviously worked.
So basically sorry to interrupt, but I essentially, so from my standpoint, and I'll say my standpoint, and you can say what it was like for you guys, but I basically had to move every 2 to 3 years because of my dad's job, which I will not name, but actually that sounds real ominous now I've said that.
He's a hitman.
He's a hitman. Just fucking murders people. But
James Bond, that's him.
Essentially, my dad was a contractor, and I came from, before that, Montreal to this place that I shall not name.
BC.
It's somewhere in an undisclosed area of BC. And for me, I just came from a high school where it was probably one of the, everyone has that emo period in the years. I was in proper sad boy period where I just come out not having super many friends or not wanting to have many friends. And then I was like, look, I need to make friends this year. First day there, awkward as hell. In fact, one of our acquaintance friends, Leah, came up to me. Most awkward conversation I had in my life.
Oh God, she's so awkward.
She's so awkward.
Didn't make it any easier in her defense. I literally was like, hey. Yeah. Hello. And essentially the first couple of days I was like, oh my lord, this is just a repeat. I have no one to talk to. And when I was at my locker, these two jokers, Steven and Eugene, suddenly, this is themed for the show, started talking about anime next to me. And then there's me going, is this my moment? Is this my moment? And then they talked about Attack on Titan, which I, at the time, had been watching a couple of years prior with my brother. And I was just like, you guys watch Attack on Titan? I love it.
My favorite part about this is that was 100% planned too. It was so why don't we go right next to this guy and talk about Attack on Titan and see if he picks up on it.
Yeah,
I didn't even think it was staged.
We didn't. It was a shot in the dark.
It was a shot in the dark. We just figured this guy might like anime. We'll see. So it was something that was pretty popular at the time. But to be fair, we also did. Oh yeah, that's right. Because didn't you have some merch?
No, that was later.
He was wearing it though.
No, I was just wearing a black hoodie. I looked like an emo kid.
Oh, black hoodie and white button-up shirt, was it?
The thing is, when you're a weeb, you can kind of spot the closet.
You can kind of spot.
You can figure it out. That's true. Well, and also, I think we've mentioned this before, but Eugene and I once did. I'm not going to say follow you home. But we happened to
cross from the school.
We happened to triangulate where you lived.
And it turns out I was across the school.
Well, see, because where you first lived, because you did move one time from one place to another place in our hometown. 2 times.
Three
oh yeah,
times technically. 3
yeah,
houses.
Yeah, I guess so. The first place that you lived was like the equidistant point between where Eugene was living and where I was living.
Oh, that's true. Actually,
so I was in the middle. Left. Yeah, it was literally right in the middle. Like if I was gonna walk to Eugene's place and the place we were living, you could walk anywhere because it's not big.
It's small.
That's Vegas. That's as vague as I'm gonna get. Yeah, so I'm not saying we followed you, but we happened to just leave, the school, and you were walking, and we're like, oh, I wonder where he's going.
In your guys' defense, like my second day in, everyone knew I lived across from the school. It was very uncomfortably awkward, where everyone was like, you live in that house just over there? I was like, yeah.
Maybe. One person sees you walk in and it's over.
Yeah, exactly. No, everyone knew where I lived, but because I literally
That being said, when I used to live further away on the other side of Uptown, I have been followed home before by people. So
what a lovely place.
Eugene had some admirers.
I had some secret admirers.
Well, except they weren't that secret because we all kind of
we all knew.
Anyways, this is our introduction to our guest star.
Hello.
Our guest star, who has the honor and privilege of introducing our anime of the week.
Right. So our first episode we watched for Candace was Demon Slayer, and just to give you a little synopsis of the show, basically it is ever since the death of his father, the burden of okay, sorry. I was just making sure the name. No, it's all good. I was just making sure the name comes in. I was like, or else it's gonna be real awkward. Ever since the death of his father, the burden of supporting the family has fallen upon Tanjiro Kamado's shoulders. Though living impoverished on a remote mountain, the Kamado family are able to enjoy a relatively peaceful and happy life. One day, Tanjiro decides to go down the local village to make a little money selling charcoal. On his way back, night falls, forcing Tanjiro to take shelter in the house of a strange man. I feel like I'm back in school. Who warns him of the existence of a flesh-eating demon that lurks in the woods at night. When he finally arrives back home the next day, he is met with a horrifying sight. His whole family has been slaughtered. Worse still, the sole survivor is his sister Nezuko, who has been turned into a bloodthirsty demon. Consumed by their rage and hatred, Tanjiro swears to avenge his family and stay by his only remaining sibling. Alongside the mysterious group calling themselves the Demon Slayer Corps, Tanjiro will do whatever it takes to slay the demons and protect the remnants of his beloved sister, humanity.
Yay, bravo.
Oh, thank you.
Can I mention right now that when you said that you felt like you were back in school, like it just gave me a visceral memory of like being in elementary school and knowing that like you're going through some textbook, whatever, and like everyone has to read a paragraph, and like that you're like 5 people after that person, so you're looking paragraphs ahead and be like, which paragraph do I have to read?
I gotta
and like
say
reading it over in your head like 15 times, being like, I cannot mess up a word or else I will be ostracized for the rest of my life.
100%.
So, there was a moment in like our grade 10 English class where we were reading To Kill a Mockingbird, and we were doing this exact thing, except we were coming up on a passage that had a certain word that started with N, and none of us were were trying to avoid the living hell out of that one.
That is something. For me, reading was fun but also terrifying in school. Like, obviously, I've got a bit more different situation than most people, right? In that, like, I'm the British kid in a foreign land. So literally any place I lived in, and this happened in the place we were in with you guys as well, anytime I had to read a passage, it suddenly felt like everyone went...
absolutely. I don't think you're wrong.
And I was like, all right, don't mess up anything.
Okay, just all the girls would end up with crushes.
Well, see that it's actually a secret superpower because it doesn't matter what you say because the accent just makes it sound like, like I think when someone with a British accent says something, even if they say it wrong, us as Canadians, or I think Americans probably seem the same way, it's like because it was said in a British accent, it's like maybe that's how you're supposed to say it.
Yeah,
this is how I'm wrong the whole time.
Honestly,
like maybe I'm the one who's wrong.
This is how I got good grades.
Maybe it's not photosynthesis. Maybe it is photosynthesis. Like maybe that's what it is. Like, yes. Like that's like maybe it's like aluminium where it's just
I
like
was
it's
just
they
thinking
say
that.
yeah, like
the burns creating photosynthesis. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
that's a word. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Change Wikipedia.
We're wrong. Yeah. All right.
no,
so Candace, what were your first thoughts?
I don't even know.
In the recording, there was a lot of
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I have no idea what happened. I watched it. Don't understand anything. Like
that's true. Actually, in the next like 3-4 episodes, a lot of stuff comes forward.
Like, what's with the thing on his forehead?
It's just a scar.
Yeah, it's just
from what?
It is a scar.
His dad.
However,
it's hereditary.
It's like a weird birthmark.
Okay, I was gonna say that's a birthmark. You can't
maybe
just
maybe he just has like it's just psoriasis. You know,
he does have a good. He does have a good forehead.
He does, just like his grandmother.
That's all I say. There's more to do with his forehead.
Advertising rental space.
That
thing's huge.
Ouch.
Later on, he does.
They did her wrong. They did her so wrong.
His grandma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her head's like this big. That beast
her big brain.
Poor lady. Yeah,
That's
big
true.
brain.
That reminds me of
like
the
the
governor from Stardew Valley. He got a big old head.
He's just fat though.
He's wow.
No, but like he is like a 400-pound person.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Tanjiro does headbutt a lot of things. Coming up, and I will say, like, one thing about the show is like because he's got a good head on his shoulders, all right?
He does,
but
he's got a good hard head.
It does start off very shock horror and does explain. He does have a big head. It starts off very shock horror and it does explain more as you watch.
That was just a lot for first episode, though. It's like, oh, we're going to the city.
It is a lot for first episode.
That classic trying to hook you in early,
so
that you stay because, like, murdering someo's entire family.
That's just a great hook.
Yeah, it's one way to be like, nanny.
This is probably an important time actually to say the show in general was made over 500 million USD. 40
that was
billion
just
yen.
the movie, I think.
Yeah, that was the movie. Yeah, they had a movie and it won
the Japanese
many
box office.
Yeah,
what?
So it is a good show, but at first you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like when he was running, he's like, I have to move my legs faster.
Yeah.
So do it. I don't know why you're like,
very cold.
It's just like the anime monologue where you gotta talk about everything you're thinking about.
Yeah, like that Demon Slayer dude's like, wow, he threw a rock at me and threw the hatchet with the other hand. Like, whoa.
He can use both hands.
That's crazy.
I will back for my boy Tanjiro though. There's definitely been times where like I'm exhausted and my inner monologue is like, just go faster, even though I can't. So it's a situation like that.
It's just weird to like see it.
See it in anime, you're like,
it's expositional inner monologue, which is definitely something that's kind of.
Don't move your mic like that, Steven.
I think one thing the show does do right, in a weird way, it does actually. The first episode does make you kind of dislike Tanjiro because he does kind of come off wimpy, which is strange seeing anime because most of the time you're used to an anime where like the character just sprints or goes 110%, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is just a kid. He's like 15 or 14,
A child.
So it is weird at first, but a child. But I think like in the rest of the show, he does grow a lot, which is nice.
That's good. I was gonna say if there was a tough guy, it was the Demon Slayer dude who just went in.
He was an asshole, right?
My God.
He's nice later on.
Got roasted and toasted.
In his own way, yeah. Yeah, like there's some anime where like you'll have like kind of a meek main character, but they stay that way a lot longer than Tanjiro does in this show.
In fact, actually very soon, like even in fairness, like even as soon as like second, third, and then it continues on, he grows a lot as a character, and you're like, oh, he's
and like to be fair, it's a very classic example of like the character development through forced trauma. you can say there's definitely a bit of trauma that happens there.
That's for
some
sure.
trauma.
I can't put my finger on what his would be.
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but there was some
chill.
trauma. I mean, it did look cold. Like, it's a lot of snow up there.
That's right. And he did slip.
You gotta figure out
being cold
what is
so
smelling
Somehow
is
didn't
all
get the wind
about.
knocked out of him.
Yeah, what's that smell?
I smell a cat on this
Yeah,
dish.
that was weird. What is up with that? What is up with that? Forgot about that. Smell my broken pot. Like,
that is definitely something explained funny enough.
Yeah. So like later in the show, this is kind of weird to say, but like he can smell demon intentions.
Like, what?
That's even worse, actually. It's even worse.
That really cleared things up.
It's like, we're in this weird boat where in order to explain anything, we have to spoil a shit ton. So
yeah.
But
it does get explained.
I'm probably not going to watch it again. So like,
but,
I'm fine with that. Just spoiler alert for listeners if you're going to watch it.
We spoil alert after the spoiler.
Yeah, that's right.
Who wants to explain the breathing, sniffing shenanigans?
Yeah, it's just weird. Like the sniffing intentions, I was like, he didn't mean to do it. It's fine. It was an accident. Don't be mad.
Oh, it's more like the demon's about to attack you, and he can sniff where he can counter it.
Yeah,
it's weird. That's what we talk about it out loud.
He's weak on his left side. I'm gonna go for that. He smells it.
I'll give some more spoilery answer. It's essentially, and it doesn't really explain it super well, but it's so there's a thing called like a breathing technique that each demon slayer can do. And there's also a hidden trait of this is some people are just more attuned with smelling or hearing or seeing, just basically the senses, right? So it is a very weird thing. He can smell if people are like being aggressive.
Dude, imagine if Tanjiro
digging this word.
Imagine if Tanjiro got COVID-19. He would be like
he'd be out.
And lose his sense of smell. Just can't even do anything. He'd be terrible. That'd be awful. Can you imagine being like someone who like his entire job and livelihood depends around you being able to smell really well, and then getting a sickness that just makes it so you lose your sense of smell just for the foreseeable future? Like, that's super crazy.
It'd essentially be like being a sniffer dog at an airport and getting retired.
Yeah, you'd have to retire. At that point,
yeah, you'd have to retire. Yeah,
you're too old to smell.
It would be like if you were like a professional, like, I don't know,
professional
steak
sniffer
critic. I don't know if that even
a scent person critic. In a perfume factory. Is that a thing?
You got,
there you go.
Smart. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, what if the dude who runs like Chanel, or any of those, or like you work at Bath and Body Works and you're trying to recommend a candle and it's like, what does this one smell like? It's like, I don't know.
Read the label. It smells like Christmas Wonder.
Christmas Wonder. Do you guys know anyone who doesn't have a sense of smell? Like born without?
I'm just kidding. No, mine's really, really bad. I have to put stuff like right here to smell things.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. Well, I bet you're jealous of Tanjiro.
It's why it makes working with shit so much easier.
You could smell where macaroni's been.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like
I'm just waiting for my nose fix so I can smell things.
The only person Steven will back down. Scott.
I'll get back there one day.
No, Steven first. I was good.
No, I didn't actually have. I like derailing.
Candace first.
What?
Eugene
nothing. We're just in a stun lock right now.
Okay, right. I'll go first.
So my nose is fucked up, so that's why I can't smell. Now it's not turn.
The moral of the story.
You know what? I feel like also some people are less sensitive than others when it comes to smells. Like,
absolutely.
I suppose in fairness, it's probably what you're used to, but I'm the same way. In fairness, like with Candace, like I had to work in like farms and whatnot, and you get real desensitized to shit smell really quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the opposite. I have a very sensitive nose.
Yeah,
really?
I have a
not like Tanjiro sensitive, but
no,
yeah.
Can you smell my evil intentions?
Adam has a sensitive nose too, so he'll get a candle like, oh my god, smell it, and then I'll like put it right into his face. He's like, I can smell it from where you're holding it. You don't have to cram it up my nose. I was like, what?
That's
like
fair.
When I was a kid, we used to go like to the beach and stuff, and if there was like any seafood or dead fish or something, it would just be like, whoa, I can't be here. I have to leave.
Rotten fish is pretty bad.
Yep. That's like my gag reflex initiates pretty quickly when it comes to bad smells.
Same.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like going to the hatchery as kids, I would struggle.
my biggest problem is if one of the biggest ones I always have is if I forget to wash out my shaker bottles after they've had protein in them.
No,
that is
actually,
the worst. That is like the worst.
He's right.
It's accelerated decay. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
but
if you have protein powder in this because of that.
Yeah,
reason.
if you put protein in a shaker bottle and like you don't wash it out within like even just like half an hour or an hour after
even if
you've used it, it's like it's instantaneously. It's just like it's as if it's like you left like a piece of steak just outside. On a heating pad, like a raw steak on a heating pad for like 10
worst
hours.
Part about it. The worst part about it is like it's so. This applies to Steven's right. It applies to literally any protein powder, even good tasting ones or like higher quality ones. Yeah, it still does the smell. But the worst part about it is like you take that steak analogy, but then you add like sweetness smell to it. Like it just has
peanut
this
butter or something
gross
like that.
Off sweetness, and the worst part is this is again why I don't put it in this bowl because this was a gift from my fiance. And it just it has this god awful smell of like sweet gone offness, and it permeates in the bottle forever. You can clean it no matter what, but you just have to delete.
Like you gotta like you almost like even like you gotta like soak it in bleach for it to get. Yeah, it's really really bad.
I remember the first time I gave it to. I remember the first time I brought this is going back years ago when I was a wee lad and was not aware of this god awful smell that permeates in shaker cups, and I gave it to my partner to drink some water, and she was just like, not doing that. I'm like, oh no, now I feel like a crescent.
Well, because the thing is that like you don't, like you don't realize how bad it is until the first time it happens. Because like it's not something you expect. It's like it's just protein powder that tastes like chocolate peanut butter or something.
Take a good
and then it's like I'm so tired after the gym, so I'm just gonna like leave it here on my counter and I'll deal with it like later tonight or something like that. And then you go deal with it and you like unscrew the top and this giant. It's like you know how the garbage gets when it's like really at the top and like you might have done some cooking a few days ago that included raw meat and like you just open up the garbage and this giant waft comes up and you're like,
honestly at this point this is why I just make recipes with protein powder and don't drink it anymore because I just hate the smell.
It's tough. Well, like these days I basically just like I have a separate bottle, like a small shaker bottle. I will literally it's my dedicated bottle now, because what I do is I will literally go over, fill it up, drink it, and then the second like I'll pound it back and then just right next to the sink and then just clean it instantly, because it's like that just makes sure that it doesn't screw up anymore, because otherwise it'll be bad. Anyways, this is
moving onwards from
Candace. How many alcoholic beverages? Continue watching this.
I gotta think about that. Maybe like
how
3
many
or 4,
cookies?
because nothing's making sense.
It is true.
Well, I mean that's the tough part. Is it's like this is one of those shows where you kind of have to watch a few episodes.
Yeah, I honestly can't get over the smelling thing. Like what? Why?
Look,
it seems so random.
Have different superpowers, and one of them can be smelling it up.
Smelling that a cat broke a pot. Or that his sister scent, there's another scent in the house.
You can
or his
smell
sister doesn't smell like his sister or something. I can't remember what it was.
Look, it does get a little extra with that, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's interesting.
The smelling show.
I would say enough of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Absolutely, my dude.
The School of Learning Basic Anime, things that literally everyone should know by now.
Degens.
Amazing. All right, so in this week of the School of Learning Basic Anime, things that literally everyone should know by now, we're going to talk a little bit about historical anime. We've actually seen one already, believe it or not, Candace.
I was gonna say,
there's no way she remembers.
What is this? Like, it might be a bit of a fever dream to you, because even the show itself is a bit of a fever dream to many people.
Was it the one with the different worlds thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Candace, bringing it up.
It's working today.
Yeah, so historical
She brought it.
anime, generally, I mean, it's in the name. It's generally just has to do with historical figures or historical time periods, right?
I was
So
gonna say, there were
they'll
no
have
historical figures in that.
in this show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there aren't any, but it is a sort of historical time. It's set in a sort of time period. Now, one of the key things about historical anime is they're not always in, historically accurate time periods. What they'll do is they might take inspiration from specific time periods, often in Japan, but it can be in a bunch of Japan. Actually, medieval Europe is a very classic thing to do as well.
Or like, I'm not sure if you could call it historical yet, but like mafia Europe kind of.
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times.
That's a pretty that's a pretty classic one too. Yeah. So what they do often with these is they'll have a sort of time period. So sometimes like feudal Japan is a classic one. So like feudal Japan, but there's fantastical elements to it, such as demons or some sort of magical element, right? So that's a pretty tip. So like this, so Demon Slayer is a classic example of. I think it looks like it takes place in a sort of feudal Japan type era.
Yeah.
It seems to be early feudal Japan.
Spoilers. There's trains, so it's somewhere in between there.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird part, is that it feels like feudal Japan, but there's also trains. So it might be like a late.
There is an era called that, which was kind of like
late 1700s, like 1800s.
Yeah, there's an era that's like right at the start of Steam.
Well, because it could have been that it's probably that period of time where you've got steam engines, you've got that sort of technology, but most people who live in the country are still living very rural. Like that's a very classic Japanese thing, right? You consider this guy lives in the mountain.
If you remember in the movie, or in season 2 now, I guess,
yes,
they do mention how it's like a new thing, right?
A brand new thing, yeah.
Mm.
So I'm not entirely sure when steam engines were first brought to Japan, but
regardless, yes. So
regardless, that kind of time period, right? Historical time period, right?
So like I guess the Western
other one,
it might be something like Game of Thrones, where it's like swords and magic and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like the sword era.
Yeah, like you're looking at that era, or even things like Lord of the Rings, stuff like that, which isn't, well, it's not based on Earth. It's definitely based on a certain time period in like an earthly time period.
Frodo doesn't just pull out a gun.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's no
Lord of the Rings in like
Frodo's got
1990s.
Imagine that.
It's just like Pulp Fiction, but instead Lord of the Rings.
You just got
Frodo and Sam
crawling all
over.
Yeah,
much faster journey. I gotta catch a plane over here to dispose of the thing.
One does not simply fly a jet engine into Mordor.
Yeah.
Smeagol takes over the plane as a gun. He's going, "Give it to me,
my precious, my precious." Yeah. So the other historical anime we watched, at least it's definitely a very classic historical anime, it was Drifters, right? And that one is kind of interesting because they actually go through multiple sort of time periods within the show, as well as other worlds. But a big thing is they also have a lot of historical characters in it as well, like Oronobunga and stuff like that. So that's always fun. It's a good time to literally a good time. Hey.
Good time.
Now the other, and this is the skill testing question for you, Candace.
Oh no.
The other main genre that the Demon Slayer would fall
slash
under,
demographic.
That's the way to put it. Is one that we've talked about. We've talked about a couple of times, and we've also had to compare. We've also compared this against a couple other things before.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So based on the episode you saw, what do you think the target demographic of
maybe the first episode's not
we'll just
is it supposed to be like the young men thingy?
So that's actually, you know what, to be fair, that's a very good guess based solely on the first episode.
No, if it was the first episode, it would be correct.
I would say you're right.
Continued completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does it not?
But
what the
it does in some ways, but it sort of becomes more, as it goes on, becomes more actiony, less just always dark.
Shock,
I guess.
Horror.
And a little weird thing is his sister has a thing in her mouth. the scroll Mari thing.
Okay, I mean that's just don't worry about that.
But okay, so you got the genre that's related to the genre that it is. Do you remember what the other one is? It's very close.
It's very close. So you've described. I'll tell you right now. You've described seinen.
See,
right?
I can't remember those words.
The other one, if instead of being that level where it's a little more adult themes, it's more actiony as it goes on. Do you remember what that one was called?
Do you remember what the target was?
I can give you a hint.
Hint, yes,
Hey,
the hint.
all right. We're now doing charades. Hey, Candace, let me you this.
What?
Okay, Candace,
in
elementary school, you sometimes brought in stuff from home for blank and tell.
Show and
yes.
tell? Oh, is it shonen or something?
Yeah! There you go.
You're going like, let me give this to you or lend it to you. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry,
What?
Yeah.
I guess we already knew the words. So.
Yeah, that's true. It makes it way easier.
That's kind of like when you tap out the beat of a song and be like, oh, how do you not know what song I'm tapping the beat to? And it's like because I just hear tapping. Like
this is
yeah, like and it's like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's obviously Toto by Africa. It's like,
yeah, hello.
No,
always is.
Yeah.
How dare you not be able to tell?
How dare you?
Copyright by Toto.
But yeah, this show is like, yeah, I'd say shonen, historical, a little bit, and fantasy basically is
supernatural.
Supernatural, yeah. Those are the main sort of genres of it. But yeah, the sort of idea that it's seinen, it definitely feels right for the first few episodes, because it does get a little bit like.
Once we get into the other cast, then you get to see these interactions that are more shonen
based. Yeah, the rest of the cast makes it very shonen-y, mostly because it becomes more zany as it goes along, I guess. Would be
one thing that still is from episode 1 and continues. It just has beautiful soundtrack.
There's a good soundtrack to this show, and very good animation too. I like the animation a lot.
There was episode 19 of the show broke the internet when it came out.
Yeah, it was funny because
it was just so beautiful.
For context, like this. So a lot of animes obviously come out and it's like everyone's talking about it. For context, honestly, no one really... I mean, apart from a couple of people talked about it for like straight up 19 episodes. Episode 19 came out, literally shot up into like top anime of the week to month, and then now it's so incredibly... of the year, and now it's so incredibly popular.
I don't think it won Anime of the Year in the Crunchyroll Awards, but it won a bunch of stuff in Japan.
Yeah, it was really... Well, wasn't it the highest grossing one of
highest grossing movie?
Was the highest grossing,
yeah. Like it was
no spoilers, but it essentially just has a really beautiful blend of animation, story, and action in that episode, and music, and that alone just like shot it to crazy popularity. And it was quite wholesome, actually. The creator started crying. Thank you, everybody.
I would do, man.
Sag. Yeah, it's a good show. Like I can't. Like there's faults in every show, but I
do see it from Candace's standpoint. Like, especially if you're not super into anime, first episode you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I was too distracted by the events to focus on the animation or the music.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is? That happens very quick. To be fair, that happened to me too. Like, because I actually watched the first episode at Eugene's house.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. There.
Yeah.
And after the first episode, I was like, wait, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And I started I garnered a greater appreciation as it went along, because once the story started to click, then it's like, oh wow, like I can see what they're doing here, and it becomes really, really.
In fairness, it was a pseudo similar thing with Eugene, like, because I watched like my partner. I guess to be fair, I could just say her name. It's not like she's a Voldemort, but Sierra basically. I realized why am I bothering around it, but Sierra showed. So basically, Sierra watched a couple episodes and then realized, oh, Scott would really like the character design. Let me show him it. And at first I was like, what are we watching? So it happened to me as first, and then she made me keep watching. And then I remember actually I suggested to Eugene, I was like, just trust me on this, just watch past episode 1. He was like, what the hell?
I remember you were kind of like, okay, like it's amazing. This episode was so good. You need to make it here.
Yeah, it was like you gotta get to 19.
Yeah.
Gotta get to 19.
Although, in fairness, after episode 1, I just kept watching it and I marathoned it. So
well, I think that's the thing is that I think if you've watched enough anime, you know that like if it's a very confusing episode 1, like a lot of times like I think once you watch, I think honestly like the big one for me was once I watched Steins Gate. That's when I was like, okay, I will give every anime at least like 3 or 4 episodes. I'll give them all 3 or 4 episodes, and if
I think that's a good rule with anime. Yeah, because generally you can have. And this sounds weird coming to like somebody who doesn't watch anime, because generally you don't want the first 3 episodes to be the hook, but a lot of times you have to do that. But anyways, should we carry on to Ouran?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. All right. So episode 9, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah. The Lobelia Girls Academy Challenge.
How's that?
Part 1.
Where'd the challenge part come in? I don't understand.
This
episode also confused me.
It's
the whole thing.
It's a 2-parter.
Okay.
We'll get to it next week.
The
Unfortunately, we didn't have the time to do the double. Yeah. The singing is just so funny.
Really excellent episode, honestly. It's
funny.
Why are they so obsessed with
Haruhi?
Yeah.
Because she's a fair maiden.
Oh, this maiden, and then she's like laying.
They're essentially
they have a shoe off and just petting her.
They're trying to basically save her from the spooky boys.
For his time, it was
women are superior.
It was for his time. It was very interestingly very lesbian.
Very lesbian.
They were like the beautiful fair maiden.
They didn't have Nickelodeon telling them not to
rub her skin.
No kidding,
take off her shoe and rub our face on her calf.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
It was good though.
But it's a solid episode overall. Like you'll see a little bit more about how it goes next week. But like, it's just the setup. The setup is basically just made to make that huge comparison juxtaposition.
What?
Sorry, I thought you were doing that on purpose. Like there was I realized halfway in he was looking for the word.
Yeah, I was looking for the word. But like that huge comparison between like they're actually so similar, but just one's a girls' academy, one's got well, technically it's mixed, but like the host club is all boys, obviously, right?
I mean, no. Yes, but no.
Okay,
what is it?
You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I know.
Is it like the tall chick from the girls' school with the mustache and the
the mustache was
we
so
don't
funny.
need men for anything, and then they were soldiers of some kind holding their arm up straight. I'll let you figure out who.
We'll not say what they said.
The imagery was a little bit.
They had armbands. We can also say that.
Yeah, and there's a red and white flag behind them. There's a white circle and something black in the middle.
Yeah, to be fair, this is actually not the most uncommon thing for like very like obvious like Nazi style imagery to be used in anime as like an indication. Like usually it's used for like these are bad guys. Oh boy. But this one's just like for a gag, which is
it was just women are superior.
It's very Ouran of them to use something like that as a gag.
It was also over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
It's a bit of a different time.
Times were different, yeah.
But also, like, you show that to a European person 15 years ago.
Oh yeah, like it's not like it's become more sensitive in the last 15 years to like anyone in Europe, but I don't know. I think it's interesting because like you consider what the audience of that show is, and it's like, well, be fine. Like no one's gonna get upset about it. Well, some people might get upset about it, but
oh boy,
yeah.
To be fair, when I was a kid, I didn't register that whatsoever.
I never watched it as a kid, so
I think I watched it when I was in grade 9, so I probably figured.
Like grade
probably
6,
knew.
7. It was early for me.
It's a funny episode.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good episode. It's funny, especially when they cross dress and then
at the end
sing out the name of Ouran.
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 Yeah.
They tried.
Yeah, they did their best.
It was
right?
all right.
I mean, it adds to their charm, right? Like that's the whole point about them is it's like as much as they all give Haruhi a hard time all the time, they're all like just ridiculously obsessed with her.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Mori. Mori's just kind of like
He's just chilling.
Mori's
just
literally the
chilling.
most. Mori is like the there's a word for it, like the character that just like is very even and keeps everyone else kind of like. He's not a foil because he's not like an extreme on any one side. He's just like he's the straight man. That's what they call it. Yes.
The old straight man.
He's a straight man.
No, like straight, not referring to as in heterosexual,
Just sounds
but straight
funny.
as in like he's just like serious to make everyone else sound even funnier.
Straight man in the boys
Whatever.
love anime.
You know.
Yeah.
All my straight man homies love anime.
Right.
What?
That was a good ending to Ouran.
So, final segment is
Yeah.
Christmas!
Let's do it.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have worn my sweater next week. Next week.
Next week.
Oh.
Next week.
Next
I'll be
Next
back
week
in
when I'll be gone.
the vague hometown
Yeah,
next
sad.
week.
I will be back in
Ooh,
front
I'm
of
gonna
a
have to be
tree.
quiet again. Is your brother or sister coming home?
Brother is.
Okay.
But maybe I'll record at Candace's.
I was just gonna say you can probably
yeah.
come to my house, seeing as I have
Oh
a
my
whole
God.
house here.
You can go
You
behind
could-
the
you should-
tree.
you
Oh, it
should-
would be so good.
You should. I'm gonna need you to pick me up though, because I won't be able to drive when I'm there.
Ah, yes. I
Well,
do have a car
well,
too.
Pick me up.
Yes.
All right. So for this week's Christmas talks, Steven, you want to do a little sing song?
I can't even remember how the song went last time.
I got my hat.
I forgot. There
Someone
was
give
a
me,
song.
someone
Yeah.
give me like a, can anyone give it like a sleigh bell sound in the background? Like, I don't know.
Oh, it's fucking what?
Sleigh bell, sleigh bell,
Shing,
sleigh bell.
shing, shing, shing.
Christmas.
Okay, hold on,
Christmas.
hold on.
Not.
Hold up. I got
Nah,
this. Just
nah.
give me 1 second.
Oh,
Wait.
I'm ready for this.
Oh,
Hold on.
give me
hold
jingle
on.
bells.
No,
We're
come on.
holding.
Oh,
Still
the
waiting.
suspense is killing me.
Try to get it on your phone.
I can't wait for this audio to be so tinny.
It's actually
I don't know
incredible.
if you can hear it.
That's actually
Yeah,
a good
we
song.
can.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You
Time
wanted
to
the
talk
sleigh
about
bells.
Christmas.
Alright, come on, Steven.
Talking about Christmas now. Everybody loves Christmas time, and we're talking about Christmas now. I rhyme now with now. What the heck is that? You
Yeah, it
think?
works.
Whatever.
We got it. All right. Cool.
Woo!
So this week's topic, we are talking about Christmas dinner.
And treats.
The
best
Any
part about
food.
Christmas.
Just Christmas
Yeah.
food.
Food, yeah.
Christmas
Ugh.
food.
Oh, I love
yeah.
a good
Treats.
Christmas
Yeah.
dinner.
A lot of good desserts in Christmas time too.
Oh.
I have baking planned
Ooh.
for this week.
Nice.
Ooh. Oh yeah, you're making the cookies,
So
aren't you?
excited. Yeah.
Oh, Christmas
Can't
cookies.
wait.
All right. So first question I have for all of you.
Hmm.
The main protein for a Christmas dinner.
Ooh.
What is? I'll say traditionally for your family. What's the main
the
protein
Filipino
for
one
a
is
Christmas
funny.
dinner?
We make ham and turkey.
We make lumpia, spring rolls.
I was
Hey,
gonna
let's
say you
go.
make a what?
Make a
Got them
hot.
Spring
spring
rolls
rolls,
sounds
yeah.
good.
It's a
That sounds
good
real
one. It's a
good.
good one. We make it
That
Sounds
every
really good.
for
What
like
about you,
every holiday.
Scotty?
It depends. I feel like usually it's the same thing as Candace. We usually have like a honey glazed ham or something, and then like a turkey, or sometimes we do duck.
Duck.
Is another one.
That's good. Big fan.
Mostly
Amazing.
because, I feel like it's cheating answer is mostly duck because the fat from duck cooks the potatoes really good.
Ooh.
So
That's true. Duck fat is
Duck
something
fat.
else.
I've never had duck.
duck is
Ooh.
it's real
Never had
tasty.
duck.
Duck is like all dark meat.
If you get a chance to get a duck from like a frozen section somewhere, I recommend you try it out.
They have them. They should have them at the superstore.
It goes really well with like hosen
I think
as
they
well.
do.
Yeah, my family is. I'd say a turkey and a ham is usually pretty common.
Yeah.
We sometimes do hams, but like it depends on who's coming to Christmas dinner and stuff.
Yeah, I think we actually even did chicken, like 2 chickens one time instead of a turkey because it was like cheaper / also chickens are more efficient. Also, like let's be real, chicken meat is a little bit more
So
soft.
Is
is
actually turkey time?
You know what? Yeah, you know what? Actually, I will interrupt it. I
Yes.
feel like, for me personally, turkey's just ruined. And this is because I recently went to Texas, and I got to enjoy for the first time in my life deep fried turkey. Which at first you might be thinking, oh shit, it's like breaded Kentucky Fried Chicken turkey. No, it's not. But it's very strange. They have a smoker, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, so I apologize to any Texans out there, including my fiance. But essentially, I think what Uncle Craig is Sierra's uncle told me, they have a smoker so they smoke the turkey for several hours. Then they also inject it with, I think, some sort of fat or something in there.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
So they inject it. Pamela, which is Craig's wife, puts on like a Cajun seasoning, so the skin is real tasty, and then they deep fat fry in oil for several hours or something, and I shit you not, so it doesn't come out like crispy or anything. It comes out looking like a normal Thanksgiving turkey, but it is. So here's one thing about turkey, right? Turkey is bland by default. It's a bland meat.
That's
essentially
what the gravy's for.
Exactly. That's where most of the flavor comes from, adding the sauce. This was the most moist turkey I've ever had in my goddamn life. I swear to Lord. I ate just the turkey straight up and I was like,
every time I hear about it, I want it so bad.
And then you put the gravy on top, and then you put the cranberry sauce on top, and it gets even better. Oh, it was... So essentially every turkey for me is ruined, and I can never have turkey again in my life until I go back.
All right, so proteins. Yes. Turkey, ham, pretty common, and then apparently lumpia if you're Filipino, so that makes sense. To be fair, actually, that sounds like I love lumpia.
That sounds real nice.
I'm upset. One of the upsetting things about living where I live is that there's no Filipino food anywhere.
I can teach you how to make it and wrap it and everything.
Oh, I'm sure you could.
Right.
So we've talked about main protein. Now I feel like after that, like tops. What's the number one side?
Oh,
number one side dish for Christmas.
My answers are all weird for this.
I've got some weird answers. Somewhat.
I don't know if mine are gonna be weird
because there are many options.
There's some good sides,
and I will take stuffing as being an answer here. Mm-hmm. If you're a stuffing kind of person,
I mean, let's be real. Technically, everything becomes a side at that point.
Yeah,
everything's
mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I love me
mashed potatoes and pierogies.
I'm not into
pierogies.
Yeah, pierogies.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone having pierogies as a side dish for
I like
Christmas.
That.
I've heard of it.
Pierogies.
Oh, that sounds good.
Every holiday, and then cucumber salad.
Oh, but double roasted potatoes.
Those are really good too.
I'm sorry, that's just gonna beat up mashed potatoes for me every day.
And mandarin fluff.
Mandarin fluff.
You have to explain that.
It's like a.
What is that?
I'm looking at it.
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's like some orange. It's like sweet. My dad used to always say that it was a dessert, but it's not a dessert because we always eat it.
It kind of looks like Watergate salad with.
Yeah, I was gonna say this reminds me of Watergate salad.
It looks like that.
Neither did I until I had
messed up old salads they used to make in like the 50s, whereas like here's Jello and
but it's not.
There's marshmallows in this too. This is definitely.
This is like a riff on Watergate salad.
I don't put marshmallows in it.
Oh, okay.
No, there's no marshmallows. It's just like the fluff and then like mandarin slices.
Okay, so like Watergate salad's very similar. Steven's right. They put like Jello powder, if I'm not mistaken. They put marshmallows and then pineapple juice and chunks and whipped cream, and it sounds weird, but it was so good.
This has cottage cheese.
That's a dessert.
Ew.
But I love. So apart from roast potatoes, which everyone in my family will fight each other over, pigs in blankets though, like little pigs in blankets.
Oh.
And alternatively, does this count? It's technically a main. The crackling of the ham is real good.
Oh, yes. I don't think that's. I would count this as a side.
And then, then you get into Yorkshire puddings. I don't know if you guys have those, but
I do love a good Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire puddings. Gravy in the Yorkshire pudding.
The Yorkshire
pudding. It and it gets all over your face like you're a child.
I've only had like bad Yorkshire puddings at pubs. I've never had like a good one.
Oh, the best ones are like so they're all buttery as well.
Yeah. There's actually a pub in Prince George that does a decent Yorkie. They stuff them with like shaved.
Dog.
They stuff them with like mashed potatoes, shaved beef, and gravy, and it's just like I don't know.
The dog's eating really good.
And horseradish, I think. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Brussels sprouts?
I love Brussels sprouts.
Good with butter.
If they're made well. If they're made well. If they're just boiled and like soggy, then it's bad. But like a nice like if you get a good sear on them and there's a bit of a crisp, and you cook them with bacon and onions.
Ooh, yeah, so that's what my mum does. Is she uses like the bacon fat to cook them in.
Excellent, yeah. And I honestly, the thing with me at Thanksgiving is Christmas.
Blasphemy! Cancel him.
I'm very much like a combo eater. Like I will get like mixed mashed potatoes with gravy, with cranberry juice, with turkey, with corn, with Brussels sprouts, and just like take a big scoop of all that and be like, oh. And then but the number one thing for me with Christmas dinner is the post-Christmas dinner, next day Christmas ingredients sandwich. You make a sandwich with just all of
Steven has talked about this before.
I've talked about it's so good.
Yeah. I do want to say, like we tend to do. Do you guys know what pancit is?
No.
It's kind of just like it's like stir-fried noodles.
Yeah.
And there's also pancit palavok, which is impossible for me to explain, but it's like another noodle dish we do. That's usually for holidays, and sometimes we do spaghetti. It's just kind of a thing. Big vat of spaghetti. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that. I remember being at what was it? Jasmine's. Was it her birthday or something like that? What was that? Whose birthday? Yeah, it was Jasmine's birthday, right? Where like there was I remember there's pancit and there was lumpia and then there was also spaghetti, and I was very confused because it's like there's all these Filipino foods and then spaghetti, and I'm like, okay,
spaghetti. We have our own Filipino variant. And we flavor it very differently. So.
I miss the Filipino potlucks. I know that's completely off.
Get over here. We'll make our own.
It's not off topic. It's on topic.
Yeah, we would have a big potluck for Christmas every year before. So.
Please.
One of the few things I miss about hometown.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with hometown, more just to do with the fact that there were Filipino people there.
How do you guys feel about mince pies?
Never had.
I don't think I've ever had an official one, but
official, authentic British.
I mean,
this is a bit sacrilege. I'm not too into them, to be honest.
In the end, it's just like minced up berries and fruits and stuff like that.
It's just a bunch of meat in a little pastry thing.
Yeah,
but it's also like mystery meat, which kind of weirds me out as a kid and still weirds me out today.
Nuggets.
I feel like I will have one when I go to England to watch a Liverpool game. I will definitely have a mince pie before the match, like at a pub, because that's a thing that you should do. That's a thing you should do. But like, I don't know, we'll get there eventually.
Actually, I will say this is the one way to tell if you're a good pub, Stephen, is you go and you ask them for their pork scratchings and test which pub has the best pork scratchings.
Okay, sounds good. I will have you give me a
We'll
tour.
do some IRL streaming. We'll go around and see who's
Patreon exclusive.
Break it too.
Patreon.
We all go to England together. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap on this episode. Eugene.
Okay, thank you very much for listening to our special episode of 3 Degens and a Normie, featuring our good friend Scott.
Hey.
Dog, very cute. I wouldn't say this week was super fillery because it was a lot of fun. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, give us a follow on Spotify, whatever. Whatever.
Alrighty.
Right.
Well, beautiful.
You have fun, Scott?
Well, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, everyone.
Yeah, that was a good
fun.
time.
See, we went from 4 Canadians to 3 Canadians.